Hello everyone, my name is Jake Milyares and I'm your instructor for today. And our topic is all about IT fundamentals. The contents of our topic is the following: uses of computers, history of computing, generation of computers, software and hardware, parts of computers and their uses, types of computers. Introduction. Computer as a revolution left no area of life untouched in the present world. It is tremendous help in all field of life, hence the knowledge of computer is necessity for existence of everybody in this global village. The invention of the computer has transformed our simple manual works to sophisticated life of automated works to meet the global demand for the higher productivity with high precision. Sabi nga dito, si computer daw yung nag-revolution kung bakit tayo ay nag-trend, kung bakit trend ang computer at technology sa atin ngayon. Si computer din daw ay nakakatulong sa atin upang mas mapabilis ang trabaho. Bukod doon, mas napapabilis din yung computer ang communication natin. Halimbawa, may kamag-anak tayo sa ibang bansa na nagtatrabaho doon. Through computer, di ba may Messenger at Facebook na ngayon? Through computer, mas napapabilis yung communication natin kasi isang chat lang, mababasa na agad nun nung ating mahal sa buhay na nasa ibang bansa yung ating message. Di katulad dati na manual, na kailangan pang sumulat, ilang linggo pa yung sulat bago makarating doon sa iyong pinadalhan. Dahil ngayon ay automated na nga, technology, nag-boom na yung technology, mas mabilis na rin yung communication. Bukod din doon, computer ay nakakatulong sa ating trabaho na mas mapabilis ito. Example natin dito, halimbawa yung sa PSA. Dahil nga automated na siya, mas mabilis na yung paghahanap ng information ng tao doon sa records ng PSA. Di katulad dati na manual, by cabinet hahanapin mo pa siya kung anong taon siya pinanganak, kung anong pangalan niya. Ngayon, isang type mo na lang, mahahanap mo na agad. Dahil sa computer, kaya sa computer mas mabilis at mas malaking tulong ito sa ating pamumuhay. Computer is increasingly becoming compulsory in nearly all fields of studies, not because of anything but its accuracy and versatility in processing data. Many tasks at home or office are being automated rapidly with computer. Thus, it is becoming apparent that in whatever discipline or working sector, the computer is now very vital tool for efficiency improvement and precision of job or task execution. Sabi nga dito, si computer daw ay nagagamit natin sa lahat ng field of studies. Halimbawa, sa school, sa business, kung saan-saan pa. Dahil through computer nga, sabi, mas napapabilis natin yung trabaho na wala na aaksayang oras. Hindi katulad dati na manual, mano-mano ka magta-type, mas matagal, kukonti yung nagagawa mo. So ngayon, computerized na, mabilis yung pagta-type, mabilis yung pagtrabaho, mas marami kang nagagawa. Kaya mas nakakatulong yung computer sa atin ngayon. A computer is an electronic device operating under the control of instructions stored in its own memory. These instructions tell the machine what to do. The computer is capable of accepting data, processing data arithmetically and logically, producing output from the processing and storing the results for future use. Sabi din dito, si computer daw ay isang electronic device na kung saan kung ano yung in-input mo, ayun lang din yung gagawin, ayun lang din yung lalabas na output sa kanya. Halimbawa, gumawa tayo ng robot. Ngayon tong si robot, nag-input tayo na siya lang, ang kaya niyang gawin ay magluto sa bahay, maglinis ng bahay, basta all about sa house. Ang kaya niyang gawin. Kung ano yung in-input natin sa kanya, ayun lang din ang gagawin niya. Ang hindi lang kayang gawin ni robot, yung utusan natin siya na mamalengke, bumili sa supermarkets, magbayad ng bills. Hindi yun ang kanyang gagawin kasi iba yung naka-input sa kanya doon sa kanyang memory. In everyday life activities, we process data or encounter cases of data processing. A typical example of data processing is the generation of statement of student result from the mark score in an examination and continuous assessment. It is essential to know that information is good as the data from which is derived, and the transformation process which they are subjected to. Meaningless data or inappropriate processing produce wrong information, thus computer give you results corresponding to what data you supply and how you process it. Same lang din to dun sa ating third paragraph na kung sinasabi din dito kung ano yung in-input mo, yun lang din yung output na ibibigay sa'yo ni computer. Summarily, the intelligent performance of computer depends on correctness of input data and the intelligence performance of the human being that drives it. Yun na nga. Kasabi lang din natin, 'di ba? Na ang sabi natin si computer daw kung ano lang yung binigay mong kung ano lang yung in-input mo sa kanya, yun lang din talaga yung kanyang gagawin. Halimbawa, nag-input tayo sa kanya na hello world yung lalabas. Ang output niya dapat hello world lang din. Hindi tayo yung mag-i-input tayo ng hello world pero ang lalabas doon ay goodbye world. Hindi yung ganun. Uses of computers. Ilan lang ito sa mga uses ng computers. Una na dito ay business, homes, and entertainment. Sa business, nakakatulong daw si computer para matrack ang inventories nito. Tulad ng sa tindahan ng pintura halimbawa, makakatulong ito para mas mapabilis yung pag-i-inventory natin using barcodes and scanners. Mas mapapabilis na nga, mai-check yung credit status ng customers at makapag-transfer funds electronically. Sunod naman ay homes. Sa homes naman, meron mga tiny computers na naka-embed sa electronic circuit ng ating mga appliances para makontrol ito indoor at para makontrol yung at para ma-operate yung home security systems, tell the time and turn video cassette recorders on and off. Meron example ngayon nito na yung si Siri, 'di ba? Parang si Hi Siri. Para sa example ng computers na kapag kung ano yung sinabi mo, yung dali yung susundin niya. Halimbawa, sinabi mo, Siri, turn off the light. Ngayon tong si Siri, papatayin niya yung ilaw. Pag sinabi mo, Siri, turn off the TV. Ngayon, papatayin din ni Siri yung TV. Pag sinabi mo naman buksan niya to, ayun din ang kanya susundin. And lastly, the entertainment. Creating digitized sound on stereo systems or computer animated features from digitally encoded laser disc. Sa entertainment naman, halimbawa yung mga anime, through computer, 'di ba, mas napapabilis yung paggagawa ng anime, pagdi-design, pagkukulay, at mas napapaganda nito yung ating anime na pinapanood. Hindi lang doon, sa mga bars, schools, parks, 'di ba may mga fireworks doon na kinokontrol din ng computer. Halimbawa sa firework festival, ang iba doon ay siguro kinokontrol na lang ng computer para magkusang sumindi yung may nakakonect na wire doon sa dulo nung firecrackers na sisindihan upang sumindi to. History of computing. Abacus, na-develop siya noong 2005 BC. This is a handheld device made of beads stuck on rods and frame. The rods correspond to positions of digits while the beads correspond to the digits. So yan na nga, Ayan po yung itsura ng ating abacus. Next is Napier's bone. Na-develop siya noong 2005 BC. This was invented by John Napier by 1550 to 1617. This consists of small rods with appropriate markings on them. It is a mechanical aid to computation that consists of 9 such rods, called bones. With one for each digit, 1 through 9, he also invented logarithms which made possible to do division and multiplication by performing addition and subtraction. Ayan po sa gilid natin ay makikita po natin yung itsura po ni Napier's bone. Next is the slide rule. Na-develop siya noong 1600 AD by William Oughtred noong 1575 to 1660. He invented it in 1622 but announced it in 1632. This consists of rules on which markings represent logarithms of numbers and also permits calculations involving exponents, trigonometric functions, etc. Ayan po yung picture ni slide rule. Para siyang ruler na may mga numbers lang na ginagamit sa pagko-compute siguro. Po. Next is the Pascal mechanical operator 16 AD or numerical wheel calculator na na-develop ni Blaise Pascal noong 1623 to 1664. In 1642, invented the first adding machine called Pascaline. The brass rectangular box used 8 movable dials to add and sum up the 8 figures long using base 10. It can perform all the 4 arithmetic operation with previous unheard speed. So yan nga po yung itsura ng ating Pascal mechanical operator. Next is the Leibniz mechanical multiplier noong 1600. In 1694, Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz improved upon the Pascaline by creating a machine that can also multiply using a system of dials and gear. So bali, si Wilhelm von ay parang inimprove niya lang yung ginawa dati ni Blaise Pascal na Pascal mechanical operator. So next is Colmar's calculator noong 1820 by Charles Xavier Thomas de Colmar. This presented a more practical approach to computing. Ngayon ay medyo nakikita naman po natin sa picture na medyo nag-improve na yung kanilang ginagawa tungkol doon sa pagko-compute. About doon sa pagko-compute. And the latest is the punch card machine, 1801 by Joseph Marie Jacquard. A punch card is a piece of stiff paper that can be used to contain digital data represented by the presence or absence of holes in predefined positions. Digital data can be used for data processing and applications or used to directly control automated machinery. So ito nga po yung itsura ni punch card machine. Sa ngayon, meron po tayong nakikita mga punch card sa mga ilang pabrika na nandito sa ating lugar na gumagamit pa rin ng punch card. So doon nyo po makikita kung ano po yung itsura niya. Generations of computers. The history of computer development is often referred to in reference to the different generations of computing devices. Each generation of computer is characterized by a major technological development that fundamentally changed the way computers operate, resulting in increasingly smaller, cheaper, more powerful, efficient, and reliable devices. So, sabi nga dito, kada generation daw ay nag-i-improve yung computer natin. Mas ini-improve nila yung kung ano yung gamit at kung ano yung nagagawa nito. Sa first generation natin ay 1940 to 1956, ito ay yung vacuum tubes. The first computer used vacuum tubes for circuitry, the magnetic drums for memory, and were often enormous, taking up entire rooms. They were expensive to operate in addition to using a great deal of electricity, generated a lot of heat, which has opened the cause of malfunctions. First generation computers relied on machine language to perform operations, and they could only solve one problem at a time. It was based on punch cards and paper tape, and output was displayed on printouts. The Univac and ENIAC computers are examples of first generation computing devices. The Univac was the first commercial computer delivered to a business client. It was used in 1951 US Bureau Census. Second generation, 1956 to 1963. Ito naman yung mga transistors. Sabi dito, transistors replaced vacuum tubes and ushered in the second generation of computers. That transistors was invented in 1947 but did not see widespread use in computers until the late 50s. The transistor was a vast improvement over the vacuum tube, allowing computers to become smaller, faster, cheaper, more energy efficient, and more reliable than their first generation predecessors. Second generation computers still relied on punch cards for input and printout for output. Second generation computers moved from cryptic binary machine language to symbolic or assembly language, which allowed programmers to specify instructions in words. High-level programming languages were also being developed at this time, such as early versions of COBOL and Fortran. These were also the first computers that stored in their instructions in their memory, which moved from a magnetic drum to magnetic core technology. The first computers of this generation were developed for the atomic energy industry. Sabi nga dito sa ating second generation transistor, kasi diba nung first generation mas malalaki yung ating ginagamit, parang mas malalaki pa siya sa tao na kinokontrol natin. Ngayon dito sa second generation naman transistor, parang mas pinaliit nila, mas inimprove nila yung vacuum tube para mas mapabilis, mura, at mas makasave sila ng energy dun sa paggamit. Third generation, noong 1964 to 1971, integrated circuits. The development of the integrated circuit was the hallmark of the third generation of computers. Transistors were miniaturized and placed on silicon chips called semiconductors, which drastically increased the speed and efficiency of computers. Instead of punch cards and printouts, users interacted with third generation computers through keyboards and monitors and interface with an operating system, which allowed the device to run many different applications at one time with central program that monitored the memory. Computer for the first time became accessible to mass audience because they were smaller and cheaper than their predecessors. So dito na nga unti-unti nang lumiliit at mas nagiging cheaper yung computer. At sa third generation din, makikita din natin dito na rin lumabas yung mga maliliit na silicon chips na tinatawag nating semiconductors ngayon, at hanggang sa ngayon ay ginagamit pa rin natin to. Sa third generation din ay nakakapagpara na tayo ng isa o higit pang application kada na naka-monitored sa kanyang memory. Fourth generation noong 1971 microprocessors. The microprocessor brought the fourth generation of computers as thousands of integrated circuits where computer training expert solution consults fundamentals of computer studies built onto a single silicon chip. What in the first generation filled an entire room could now fit in the palm of the hand. In 1981, IBM introduced its first computer for the home user. And in 1984, Apple introduced the Macintosh. Microprocessors also moved out of the realm of this desktop computers into many areas of life as more and more everyday products began to use microprocessor. As these small computers became more powerful, they could be linked together to form networks, which eventually led to the development of the internet. Fourth generation computer also saw the development of GUIs, the mouse, and handheld devices. So dito na nga yung microprocessor, 'di ba dati kasi kung magi-store tayo ng data ay nasa para sa malaking CPU. Ngayon ay isa siyang maliit na chip na kung saan kaya niya mag-store ng mas maraming data compared doon sa mas nauna sa kanya na mas malaki nga yung lalagyan pero mas maliit naman yung data na kayang i-store. Dito sa microprocessor natin, maliit lang siya na chip na hawak lang natin, na kaya nating hawakan pero mas malaki yung data na na-store dito. Fifth generation present and beyond artificial intelligence. Fifth generation computing devices based on artificial intelligence are still in development, though there are some applications such as voice recognition that are being used today. The use of parallel processing and superconductor is helping to make artificial intelligence a reality. Quantum computation and molecular and nanotechnology will radically change the face of computers in years to come. The goal of fifth generation computing is to develop devices that respond to natural language input and are capable of learning and self-organization. Dito naman daw sa fifth generation computing devices ay na-develop yung mga application na halimbawa yung sa Facebook nga na nakakapag voice record na tayo na naisasend natin through internet. Next topic natin ay software and hardware. Hardware is the term given to the physical components of computer. Example ng hardware ay keyboard, monitor, system box, or floppy disk drive. Software, on the other hand, is electronic information files, operating system, graphics, computer programs are all example of software. The difference between a hardware and software reflects the duality between the physical and mental worlds. For example, your brain is hardware, whereas your mind is the software. Software is the stuff that makes your computer do things for you. The computer without software would be like a home entertainment system with no tapes, CDs, or movies. You have the machine but there is nothing to play on it. Software is continually developed. Each time the software maker, Microsoft, Adobe, Corel, etc. develops a new version of their software, they assign it a version number. Before Microsoft Word 7. There was Microsoft Word 6.0.1 and before that Word 6.0. The larger the developments made to the software, the larger the version number changes. Usually, a large change will result in a whole number upgrade, and a small change may result in a tenth of decimal place. Hardware are those components or physical pieces, things you can touch, that make up the computer. The different pieces of the computer's hardware are monitor, speaker, mouse, CD-ROM, floppy drive, hard drive, keyboard, CPU, RAM, processor, etc. Each piece plays a role in the operation of computer. Sabi naman dito, software daw ay sila yung computer na kakapagbigay sa ating entertainment, katulad ng MS Word, MS PowerPoint, MS Excel, na kumbaga naka-store na siya doon sa CPU na nakikita natin na lumalabas sa screen. Samantalang si hardware naman daw, sila yung mga nasa labas na kaya nating hawakan. Different parts of computer and their uses. The standard computer consists of monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, and the system unit. One can attach accessories such as printers and scanners by means of ports. Increasingly in the workplace, computers are connected to printers and other computers by means of a network. First, the monitor. This is the visual display unit or VDU. There are various technologies for display unit: cathode ray tube or liquid crystal display LCD, or electroluminescent screen, or the projector. The monitor or screen display your work. Facing it down reduces reflected glare from room lights. This reflection may affect your sight. Monitors come in different sizes. The most important size of the monitor is measured diagonally on the screen, or inches. Based on this, the monitors range in sizes of 12, 14, 15, 17, 19, 21, and 29, etc. Monitors are also characterized by the flatness of their screen. The flatter and the wider screen are usually the better. So ito po yung litrato ng ating monitor. Kumbaga, itong monitor na to ay ito yung visual display unit or VDU na ginagamit natin, or yung cathode ray tube. Kasi sa ngayon ang ginagamit natin ay yung projector at saka yung LCD, na sila po yung mas improve na kung kahit saan pwede mong magamit. The system box or computer console, or the CPU. The system box is where all the computations that the computer performs takes place. Inside are the CPU processor, the motherboard, and hard disk, any network or sound cards, many chips, memory chips, RAM, printer ports at the back, and the drive base for floppy disk, zip disk, or CDs. Outside the casing are the power buttons, on and off, and restart, with some additional facilities like casing, USB ports, webcams, and etc. Ayan po yung itsura ng ating system box. Diyan daw, sabi nga dun sa ating binasa, diyan daw na i-input yung lahat ng mga data na ating na-gathered. Kasi nandyan po yung RAM na kung saan na-stored yung memory ni computer. Next is the keyboard or the pressing. This is the basic input device. It is one of the ways you can tell the computer what to do. It consists of the standard typewriter keys as well as a numeric keypad and function keys. You can use it to give the computer commands, name folders and files, and type text in the word processing documents. So alam nyo naman po kung ano yung keyboards, hindi ba? Parang sa cellphone lang din yan. Siya yung pinaka-basic input device na nakikita natin sa computer. Dito, kaya natin gawin kung ano yung gusto nating ilagay doon kay computer, kung ano yung gusto nating i-input para lumabas kung ano din yung gusto nating output. Next is the mouse or clicking and dragging. This is another input device used to move a small white arrow pointer the cursor, but the shape will change depending on the context in which the mouse is being used on the screen. By pointing and clicking, you can carry out commands. The computer may ask you to verify that you are sure to rename a file. By clicking on the OK button, a mouse is primarily made of three parts: the buttons, the handling area, and the sensor, rolling object, or light. There are either 1, 2, or 3 mouse buttons by default. A mouse has 2 buttons, left and right. Most mice nowadays are also equipped with a wheel on top of the middle button called the scroll button. Types of computers. First dito ay yung analog computer. These systems were the first type to be produced. It is an electronic machine capable of performing arithmetic functions on numbers which are represented by some physical quantities such as temperature, pressure, voltage, etc. Analog refers to circuits or numerical values that have a continuous range. Popular analog computer used in the 20th century was the slide rule. So kanina 'di ba pinakita na natin yung itsura ng slide rule. So the example of analog computer is ito po yung nasa picture natin sa gilid nung text. Digital computers. Virtually all modern computers are digital. Digital refers to the processes in computers that manipulate binary numbers, zeros or ones, which represent switches that are turned on or off by electrical current. A bit can have value 0 or the value 1, but nothing in between 0 and 1. A desk lamp can serve as an example of the difference between analog and digital. If the lamp has a simple on and off switch, then the lamp system is digital because the lamp either produces light at a given moment or it does not. If a dimmer replaces the on and off switch, then the lamp is digital because the amount of light can vary continuously from on to off, and all intensities in between digital computers are more common in use, and it will be our focus of discussion. Next is the hybrid computer. This is when a computer is both analog and digital components and techniques, such as computer require analog to digital and digital to analog converter, which will make analog and digital data palatable to it. The basic classification nowadays using the following. First, the desktop. A computer is referred to as desktop when it is relatively small enough to be positioned on top of table where a person is working, such as computer can also be placed on the floor or somewhere under or aside of the table, in which case the monitor would be placed on the top of the table. This is the most common type of computers used in the office or at home. A desktop computer is made of different parts that are connected with cables. Yun na nga po, sa desktop nga, di ba? Masasabi daw natin computer na desktop siya kung kaya natin siyang ipatong doon sa maliit na table kung saan tayo nagtatrabaho. Yung desktop po ay compose siya ng mouse, CPU, keyboard, and monitor. Next is the laptop. A computer is called laptop when it combines the CPU, the monitor, the keyboard, and the mouse in one unit to be so small that you can carry it on your laps when traveling or commuting. A laptop is also called a notebook. Other parts such as external mouse, an external keyboard, or peripherals such as printer or projector can be connected to the laptop. A laptop is only physically smaller than a desktop, but everything considered, it can do anything that a desktop can do. Sabi naman dito, nasasabi daw natin na ang computer ay laptop kung nandito na daw yung monitor, yung keyboard, yung mouse, and built-in na siya sa iisa na kaya nating dalhin kahit saan man tayo magpunta. Next is the server. A server is a computer that holds imputer the other computers called workstations. Can retrieve such workstations are connected to the server using various means. This means that they could be connected using cable, wireless connection, etc. Only computers that maintain a type of connection with the server can get the information that is stored in the server. Normally, although not particularly recommended, any computer including a desktop or even a laptop can be used as a server as long as it can do the job required. A server is more defined by the program called an operating system that is installed in it. Now, how the machine looks, any type of computer including a desktop, a laptop, a CD or DVD machine, etc. can be connected to a server. The person who sets up a server also defines the types of connection and it's made for. Next is the mainframe. A mainframe is a computer usually physically big that does almost all the jobs for other types of computers that are connected to it. This is a broad definition, but other aspects are involved, like a server, the program or operating system that runs in the maintenance defines its role. So, thank you. Sana po nagustuhan nyo at naintindihan nyo po ang aking presentation. And that's all. See you. Thank you.